Hi, good evening. So let's see today's agenda. So what we are going to learn. So before going to the today's agenda, what did we discuss in the last class? What did we discuss in the last class?
Work type, work order, service appointment, administration, support admin, issues of classification.
Support admin development admin.
Sorry, Gangadhar.
Support admin development.
Right. So basically, yesterday we have completed the service cloud and we started the admin. So if we look at the complete architecture, we have a champion. From the champion, the lead gets converted to the lead is created, and the lead, once the champion outcome is a lead, and leads gets converted to the opportunity. Leads get converted to the opportunity. While it convert to the opportunity, account contract is created. Account and contract is created, and then this is from the marketing cloud point of view, cloud champion and the champion outcome is a lead. Inside the lead, we have a lead cycle. Lead is converted to the opportunity if everything goes fine. During the conversion of the opportunity, lead gets created to the account, contact, and opportunity. So once the opportunity is created on the opportunity, there itself sales cloud is get started. Sales cloud is started. In the sales cloud, we have a sales cycle on the opportunity. Also, opportunity is linked to product as well as the price book. And on the opportunity, we can enable the code. So we can generate a quotation for the customer. And once the quotation is done, then we can go for the contract. Contract also has a cycle. Contract is linked to the order. Without contract, we cannot create an order. Now here, the invoice gets created. Invoice is created, but invoice does not have an option to create it in Salesforce. We have to go with the third-party system. Then the service cloud comes into the picture, case. And on the case itself, whenever the case is created, case can be created through the service contract or a service group area, appointment, work order. So whatever it is, it can be created the case and then solution gets created. So in this entire activity, we have the activities, charter, reporting, dashboard, security management, data management, customization, attachment, so many things are available. We will see all those, what are the activities are available. But overall, at the high level, we have understood the architecture and then we started with the admin. We started with admin. So in the admin, there are two types of admin. One is a support admin, second one is a development admin. Support admin is the one, they will be the part of the issues, they will be looking at the ticket or issues that are raised by the client. After the production deployment, in case if there is any support admin has to be reviewed on that day, or if they need any support help, then definitely the support admin will be helping the client in order to resolve the critical issues. And the second one is a development admin. Now the development admin is participating in a project development to perform non-programming development activities. Development admin is participating in a project development to perform non-programming development activities. That means in case if the support admin is not able to fix the issues, then what they will do, they will pass it to the development admin team. So development admin team, they will review the code and they will try to update it. Mostly development admin will not be doing any new enhancement. Existing code, they will be reviewing it. Existing code, they will be reviewing it. So development admin is working on the customization, configuration, reporting, lightning flows, approval process, dashboard. So development is two types of the development. One is a programming development. Second one is a non-programming development. Non-programming development. Programming development is nothing but they are working on the completely new features or a new enhancement, or they are completely working on the development side. Non-programming is mostly they are part of the development admin. Like then every time they will not be working on the code, they will be fixing some issues which support admin cannot be able to solve the issue. Those also can be resolved by the non-programming development team. So programming development is actual development done by the development team. Actual development done by the team before deployment. So they are called as a programming development. Non-programming development is after the deployment, if there are any issues, so those issues are not resolved by the support admin team, and the support admin need a help. In that case, non-programming development team will be the part of the dev admin. They will be handling some dev admin issues. Now take a notes of it. Let me know once it is done. Are you first time, Rohit Kumar? Are you joining for the first time? Okay, what kind of a video you are looking for it? Let me know once you have taken the notes. Okay. Now let's move on a little bit. Today we are going to talk about, we will be taking the different step today. Okay, we will be talking it more in terms of a real time. More in terms of a real time we will talk. So how we handle the issues in real time. So in real time, we have a issue types in Jira. Now Jira and Confluence, there are other tools also there. So it's based on the company, they will be using it. Few members will use the Visual Studio, few members will use the issues. ServiceNow, they will use a ServiceNow tool, right? There are different tools are available, but most of the companies, they will go with the Jira. Okay, so in the Jira, we have a issues type. Now, if you look at the issue type, now here we have a epic, story, bug, right? Quality test, estimate, deployment. So we have a different type of a issue types are there. Different type of a issue types. Now, epic means it's a huge, big story. It's a very huge story, or it's a larger story. So this epic is larger story is nothing but it might take a 10 days or a 20 days, more than a 10 days it might take to resolve this issue, fixing this issue. So what they will do is this larger epic story, they will be divided into the smaller chunk of stories. Smaller chunk of stories, story 1, story 2. Now this story 1, story 2 can be handled within the 1 week. Within the 1 week. Now more than 1 week, if it is taking a time, that means it is a epic. Right? It's a very big story. In case story also very big. Story also very big. So developer has analyzed this story and they felt that it is not possible to fix this story within 1 sprint. Within 1 sprint. That means now I'll talk about the sprint. Now if it is not possible to fix it in 2 weeks of time. It might take more than 2 weeks of time. So in that case, again, this story will be divided into the task. Again, this story will be divided into the task. That means they will be dividing into the smaller chunks of tasks or chunks of stories because the piece of the work they wanted to complete in 1 sprint. They wanted to complete the 1 week of work or 2 weeks of work. So always in the real time, what we will do is we will not take the very big story at one point. So we will divide. The story is huge story, and this huge story we will divide it into the smaller chunks. We will divide it into smaller chunks. So first we will complete this. Whatever the first one is there, we will complete the first one. Then we will take the next story. So like this, they will be dividing the stories into smaller pieces. Why we have to divide into the smaller pieces of the work? Because at a time, if you take a epic, if like a 1 month or a 1.5 month, you will be working on only one story. You will be working on one story. Usually we have a concept in the Salesforce, concept in normal, in any, let me go to the paint. So in the real time, whenever we are working on any project, okay, the project will have some kind of a backlogs will be there, which is called as a product backlog. In the real time, we call this as a product backlog. What is this product backlog? Product backlog. So this product backlog is nothing but it is going to store all the stories that we have to implement. At the during this, whenever we are starting the work during that time. So I'll explain what is that. So basically product backlog is nothing but there is a bunch of stories which are sitting in the backlog. Bunch of stories which are sitting in the backlog. So we have a bunch of stories which are sitting in the backlog. Bunch of stories which are sitting in the backlog. So which is product backlog. Now in this product backlog, possible that there are 10 backlog tickets or possible 20 backlog tickets or possible that 30 backlog tickets are there, right? It's depending on the client, how many records they wanted to create. It's depending on the client, how many records they want, how many, like there is a functionality. So in order to implement end-to-end functionality, now we have a hospital functionality. We got the requirement to implement a application for hospital. Now right now there is nothing is available. So for this application, we have to implement end-to-end. We have to implement the functionality end-to-end. When we have to implement a functionality end-to-end, in this complete functionality, that means the day the patient came into the hospital, till they left, or for lifelong if they wanted to use this application. If the patient want to use this application for a lifelong, how it is going to use. There are different functionalities are there, different features are there, different options will be there. Everything we have to implement. So those entire functionality, what BA does is BA takes collect this all the functionalities or all the information. BA or product owner. There is a BA or product owner. They will collect all the information. BA or product owner. So either BA will collect it, few companies will have a BA, or there is a product owner, or there is a product owner. They will collect all the issues that needs to be fixed in the coming days, right? So those all, they will take all the stories and they will put it into the backlog. They will put it into the backlog. Now, once they placed into the backlog, once they placed into the backlog, then we are going to, now they will be deciding it once it is available in the backlog. Now they will give a commitment to the client. They will give a commitment to the client. When are we planning to start the project and when are we planning to end it? Whatever the roadmap of the project is there, the roadmap they will give to the client. Now we are planning to start on this, implementing the application from maybe August, first week of the August, and we are planning to end by December. But when we are ending December, August to December, 5 months, around 5 months, we are planning to implement this application. In this 5 months, now they will tell that, okay, 5 months you are going to implement, that is totally fine, but every time, whenever you are implementing it, right, there is some kind of a cycle will be there. So every time you complete some functionality, give us the demo. Right, so whenever we get a new requirement in the company or a new functionality or new project, either most of the companies follow the agile methodology. Most of the companies follow the agile methodology. As part of this agile methodology, we have a Scrum. As part of agile methodology, there is a Scrum is the part of it. Scrum, sprint, these keywords you will be hearing it. Agile methodology, what they will say is, instead of implementing the entire functionality or big chunk of functionality by a single developer, divide that work, divide the story into the smaller chunks and build it in the 2 weeks. That means 2 weeks of cycle. Every 2 weeks, you need to build every 2 weeks. For example, there are 4 developers are there. 4 developer has to be implementing some functionality or some scenario or some code has to be implemented in every 2 weeks. 2 weeks cycle. In the 2 weeks, 1 week is development, 1 week is development, and second week is QA. 1 week is development, second week is QA. So 2 weeks of sprint. So we call it as a 2-week sprint. Now sometimes they will ask in the interview, now how your company is running the project. So what is the cycle or what are the sprints that you guys are having it? So it's like a 2-week sprint. 2 weeks sprint. In the 2-week sprint, now they will ask in the 2-week sprint, what are the activities that happen? In the 2 week of sprint, the first one, which is called as in the 2 weeks of sprint. Now 2 weeks of sprint is started here. In the 2 weeks of sprint, the first thing is which is called as a sprint planning, which is called sprint planning. In this sprint planning, what they will do is, this sprint planning is inside this. Now there is a meeting scheduled for a sprint planning. In that, all the BAs will be there, architect will be there, and developers will be there, QA will be there, product owner, if there is any product owner, and project manager, in case if there is any project manager. So everybody is involved in this sprint planning. Now, what they will be doing in this sprint planning? In this sprint planning, they will go through the whatever the issues that are available, whatever the stories that are available in the backlog. This team is on the day, they will go through the stories that are available in the product backlog. Now, in this product backlog, what are the stories are available? Now, if development says that, okay, development or architect says that we can take a story 2, or we can take a story 4, we can take a story 5 and story 6, because those are the smaller one, which are basic one, we can take this. Now, based on the discussion, now in this, now they will look at this story 2. In this story 2, if there are any questions, they will be asking, the development team is asking the BA, because we need to get a clarity that what needs to be implemented. What needs to be implemented. Clarity that we needed, what needs to be implemented in the, what needs to be implemented. And if there are any questions, like if whether it is a product owner, like anybody can ask. So in this sprint planning, developer should be getting the clarity of the work. Developer should be getting the clarity of the work. What is the work that needs to be completed? What is the work that needs to be completed? So clarity of work that needs to be completed as part of this story. So they will analyze all these stories, and finally at the sprint planning, they will identify what are the stories they are going to take it up. What are the stories they are going to take up. So once they have identified, once the development is got a clarity, what is the stories that they are going to take it. Now next thing is sprint backlog. Now these stories will be pushed to the, whatever these stories they were thinking on, these stories are pushed to the sprint backlog. That means we are planning to implement these stories in the coming sprint. In the coming sprint, we are planning to implement these stories. Story 2, story 3, story 4, story 5. Right? And once it is placed into this sprint backlog, that means what we are doing here, we are taking out from the backlog. And storing into the sprint backlog. So what will happen in the product backlog? The count is reduced, and in the sprint backlog, we are adding the stories. Now these are the stories which are available. Now here, this is a sprint planning. This is sprint planning. Now, once this sprint backlog is done, that means in the sprint backlog, we know that what is the stories that we are going to start working on this. There is a clarity is development and QA architect. Everybody will be having a clarity that what are the stories that we are going to work on it. Once this is finalized, then actual sprint execution starts. Now here, this is the sprint execution. Now for this sprint execution, What is this sprint execution? That means as soon as the stories are placed in the backlog, developer should start working on it. Developer should start working on it. In this sprint execution, there are a couple of things will be there. It's a 2 weeks of sprint. 2 weeks of a sprint. 2 weeks of a sprint. In this 2 weeks of a sprint, there is a daily call, like a daily stand-up will be there. Daily stand-up. That means in this daily stand-up, now project manager will be asking that what are each developer is working on today? Is there any backlog? Is there any backlog? And is there any, like 3 things they will be asking in the daily stand-up. One is, what are we working today? What are we working today? What did we work yesterday? And then, is there any blocker? Is there any blocker? So what is the work today? What did we do yesterday? And is there any blocker? So these 3 things which will be, they will be asking it, right? So each developer has to answer this question. Even if QA is involved, QA also need to be, like, everybody is part of this daily stand-up. Everybody is part of daily stand-up. Now that is one activity. This activity happens every day. Every day means in the 2 weeks, it starts at the, for example, now usually the sprint starts on Monday. Usually the sprint starts on Monday. Monday it starts the sprint. Right? So Monday is, for example, let's assume is 3rd July is started. 3rd July started the sprint. July started the sprint. Now it will end after 2 weeks. That means it will end, if it is started on 3rd July, it will end on 14th. End on 14th July. 14th July. So which is end of the sprint. 14th July. So it started on the 3rd July. So that means all Monday is the starting day of the sprint. And whenever we are ending the sprint, usually we will end the sprint on, most of the times it is a Friday. Friday, we will end the sprint. So this is total 2 weeks of sprint. 2 weeks of sprint. So in this 2 week sprint, daily stand-up is every day it will happen. Daily stand-up, every day it will happen. What are we working today and how is the work today? Or any blocker yesterday, what did you do? Right? Now everything, the daily stand-up is the daily activity during the sprint. Daily stand-up is daily activity during the sprint. Now in this sprint, 2 weeks of sprint, 1 week is completely dedicated for the developers. 1 week is completely dedicated for the developers. Developers has to implement all these functionalities, whatever is planned in the sprint backlog. Whatever is planned in the sprint backlog. And then 2nd week, they will take the QA. Whatever is fixed in the sprint, QA will be testing the each story. Now, this is the daily activity. Once this, for example, we are end of the sprint. We are end of the sprint. When we are end of the sprint, almost when we are ending the Friday, either Friday or before Friday, 1 day before Friday, there is a one more activity which is called as a sprint review. Sprint review. sprint review. In this sprint review, they are going to ask us a couple of questions like how did it went your 2 weeks of sprint? How did it went your 2 weeks of sprint? Any development is faced, any issues, QA faced any issues, what did went well, right? So they will ask in the sprint review. So what did went well? What did not go well? Any improvement? So these are the basic things they will be asking. So in this 2 weeks of sprint, what did went well and what did not go well, and do we have to improve anything during this 2 weeks of sprint? Now they will take all the feedback from the everybody, VA, architect, dev, QA, product owner, project manager, everybody will be giving the input. Once based on that input, they will consider that input. So whatever the inputs are given by the each team member, they will consider all those things, and what are the sprint review? Is the sprint review or a sprint retrospective is also there. Sprint retrospective, which is also sprint retrospective. So they will be taking all the information and they will try to apply for the next sprint planning. So this cycle is keep on going on. So first it will be sprint planning and sprint backlog, sprint execution, sprint review, and sprint review or sprint retrospective. So they will take the feedback and again the cycle starts again the next sprint. That means first sprint is completed. Now in this 5 months, possible that there are 10 sprints we have to implement, 10 sprints or 10 or 15 sprints which we have to go on. Now first sprint is completed. Now next sprint again the cycle is getting started. So that means circle is started here, sprint planning, sprint backlog, sprint execution, sprint review or a retrospective, and then again we are going to start the another sprint planning. First one is completed, second one is completed, third will start, third one is completed, fourth one will start. Like this, we will be doing it, whatever the how many ever sprints are planned by the VA. So those are the sprint we will be doing it. Finally, once all the sprints are done, or every sprint, end of the every sprint, what we will do is we will demo to the client. End of the sprint, we will give a demo to the client. So it is depending on the client and VA whether they want every end of the sprint or they want every 2 weeks of the every 2 sprints end. So it is up to the VA and client how they want the demo. Usually every sprint end, every one cycle end. So this is the first sprint is ending. After ending the first sprint, then we have to give the demo to the client. Then after that, we will be starting the another sprint. Now second sprint is completed, then we have to give a demo. So like this, we will be completing it. Once it is, when we reach to the end of the sprint, so that's how the complete product is ready. That's how the complete product is ready. So this is in real time, how the execution, how the project or whatever the cycle is there. Usually agile methodology, everybody follows the agile methodology. So this is complete cycle in order to implement any application. Whether you are implementing an application for marketing cloud, sales cloud, service cloud, or 3 of them, right? Anything that you are implementing it, so these all can be done. Now here these are called as a stories. Now task issues are raised once it is moved to the production. Now here we have moved to the production. Here we have moved to the production. Once it is moved to the production, then there itself there is a client will be raising a task. Client will be raising a No, sorry, not the task. Now here, if you,
Compliant.
now here if you see, there are different things which we have. Story, bug, right? So bugs are there. So they will be during the sprint, if QA finds anything, then they will be raising the bugs. QA will be raising the bugs. Now, after the deployment, if client is getting any issues, it's possible that client will be raising the bug, or possible that client will be raising the improvement, or possible that client will be raising the new feature. Any of this after the deployment can be raised by the client. Before the deployment, we will be having the epic story task. Task is nothing but a smaller story, right? So in story, you can, developer usually what they will do is they will create a story is assigned to developer. So what developer will be doing is developer will be creating a task by himself just to make sure that what needs to be completed in this first sprint, right? So that is also kind of a smaller story. So these will be there. After the deployment, it will be bugs, improvement, new feature, because client might say that, okay, this is working fine, but it's required few more improvements, or the new features need to be added on top of this application. So those will be, we will be reviewing it. Those we will be reviewing it. So this is a development. Here it is a dev admin, development admin. Right, so development is completely involved on the epic story task. Dev admin is completely depending on the bug improvement, new features. What are the clients are raising here? Dev admin team will be working on this. If it is an improvement, dev admin will be working on the code to improve the code. Right. So this is about the different cycle, or what are the different kind of issues. Now, when you say, let me show you the Jira. Now, this is the Jira. Here it is a Jira software. Okay, if few companies uses the Jira software. Now you can also create a Jira software. Now here I have created the Jira software. Now what you can do is go to the Google, search here Jira account creation, free version. Now it says that Jira software get started today. Jira software get started today. Right, so you can create here, or else you can directly go to the, now let me give you this. At last Jira trial now. So there is a trial version, you can create a trial version. There is a trial version is there. Let me ping you the trial version. Now if you go to this, software Jira free. Software Jira free. So if you go to the software Jira free, you will be able to create a Jira. You can also create a Jira account. You can also create a Jira account. In this Jira account, whenever we are working on any project, all your projects will be here. All your projects will be in the project stack. If you are part of any project, that means you will be having a, for example, you are working on Apollo project. You are working on Apollo project. Now, once you logged in, now you need to, once you logged into the Jira software, you need to check which projects are you part of it. Sometimes developer will be part of the multiple projects. Sometimes developer is part of the multiple projects. In that case, we have a Apollo and education, and there is another software is there. So you need to click on that particular project and go to that project. For example, if you are part of education, go to the education, Now here, this is what you will be seeing it. Now here, you will be seeing the information. Now to do, what are the backlog? What are the backlog tickets are there, which are not in to do? In progress is nothing but what are we working on? What are we working on it? So to do is the backlog. Now we need to start creating the backlog. In progress is what are we working today? QA is nothing but if the QA is testing it, if once the QA testing done, they can push it to the done. So let's click on go to backlog. Now in the backlog, this is called as a product backlog, right? So this is called as a product backlog. In this product backlog, what I'll do is I'll create a ticket. I'll create a ticket. Implement Service Cloud per Service Cloud per FSL. Service Cloud per government application. Right. So click on save. Now here is it is created. It is created. Right. It is assigned to the AD sprint 2. Usually it starts with the sprint 1 because my sprint 1 is already completed. Sprint 1 is already completed. Now it is right now I'm into the sprint 2. Right now I'm into the sprint 2. Go to the sprint 2. Now go to the backlog. Now here just paste it in the backlog. Now let's go to the board. Now I need to plan the start of the sprint to see the issue here. Now let's go to the backlog. Now when are we planning to start? So sprint 2, start the sprint. Start the sprint. Sprint 2, we are starting it from the today to that's the start date and 7/4. Let's assume that we are starting on the Monday and ending on 14th. Click on start. Once we click on start, now here it is, the card is assigned. This is the task which is assigned. Now, right now, if I open this task, now let's open this task. Now, this is a task. This is a task I have created. This is a story. This is the story. Now, here it is a story is this color, task is this color, bug is in this color. Now, in this case, it is saying that assigned to whoever is working on the developer, assigned to that developer. And the sprint is, this is the sprint. What is the story points? Usually during the sprint planning, we have to provide the story points. Now, for example, if it is a smaller story, then we will be providing the sprint one story. So where we will be providing the story points are during the sprint planning. Now, whenever we choose the tickets from here, whenever we choose the stories from here, that time dev will be asking most of the questions like how we need to implement everything. Based on that, either they will give story point 1 or a 3 or 5, all the odd numbers. 1 is a smaller task, can be completed in 1 day. 3 means it's a okay, we need a 3 days of time, 3 to 4 days of time. 5 means it's required 5 days, 1 week of time, 1 week or 1.5 week of time. If it is a more than this, story part, what they will do is they will divide the story into the, like for example, it required the 13 story points, right? It required, next one is a 13 story points. Now there is a 13 story point is there. What they will do, this 13 story points, they will divide it into the 3 story point, right? 3 story point, like this, they will be dividing it. Right, this 13 story point, they will be dividing into the 3 so that it will be easy for developer to fix it immediately. Now, here is the Jira. Now, this is the story, and we have assigned to the the person, and it is a sprint planning point is 1, right? Now these are the information, and you can add is what are the issue is there. For example, there is a issue is there. Now the let's say requirement. Let me add the requirement. Now the requirement is create in the service cloud, create a service cloud application that includes case and solution custom object solution. Let's assume that this is a case solution, which is a custom object. And what else we have? Let's say it also needed some information like a templates, knowledge article. These objects should be there as part of this service cloud application. As part of the service cloud application, these are the needed. Now this is the description. Now history is going to, now below activity we have a 3 things. One is a all, and then comments, and then history. History is going to tell us that who is created from the beginning till now, whatever is happened, what are the activities are happened on this particular ticket, everything will be captured in the history. Comments is like, for example, you have completed implementing it. So what you need to do, you need to tag your BA, whoever is the BA is there, you need to tag that BA saying that I have completed, but right now you cannot say this completed because it is in the to do. It is in the to do. Now, whenever you start working on it, you need to move this. You need to move this card to the in progress. That means in progress means this card is right now working on. The person is working on this. The person is working on this. It has to go from to do to in progress. So the person developer is working on this. So by looking at this status, anybody can understand what is the task is taken care by the developer, whether the developer is working or not. Now, once it is completed, what you can do is you can add here your VA or a QA members, whoever is there, you can add it, and then you can inform that I have completed implementing this functionality. Implementing the functionality, and then you can save it. So that means as soon as you add a comment, the person will be receiving an email saying that there is a one comment is added in the ticket. There is a one comment is added in the ticket. Right? So the comment is added in the ticket. Now here, right now, the person will go ahead and look into this issue. Now the person will say, QA person, what he will do? The QA person will be taking up, okay, development is completed the work. Now I'll take the QA will be testing it. And if the QA is testing it, in case if QA mentioned that, okay, it is working fine. So now it is changed to the QA in progress. It is changed to the QA. That means the story is right now in the QA. Now QA will say that, okay, I have tested the functionality and it is working fine. And it is working fine. Click on save. Now QA will change it to the done. Right? So done means it is we have implemented and it is moved to the production. Done means we have moved to the production. We have moved to the production, or we have moved to the different stages. Like that, it is based on the project. In few projects, you will see to do in progress QA done. In few projects, what you will see is you will see the UAT. You will see the UAT. UAT. Now, this UAT is before the here, and then you will have a done condition. Is there are two done condition? One is a UAT done, and the second one is a production. Second one is production. Now to do in progress QA, UAT done. Now done is nothing but from the UAT we have tested it and it is done. Now whenever it is moved to the production, we can move it to the production. We can move it to the production. That means once we are completed, then we can move it to the production. Now, once it is production is done, in the production also we will be testing the scenarios. Right? Normal testing we will be doing it, very high level testing. And once it is moved to the production, if it is completed, then that is totally done. And few members, few project team members, what they will do is they will add a one more one which is called as a blocker. One more one which is called as a blocker. In case any of the situation there is some blocker is available. Some blocker is available. So you will be moving on. It is similar to the in the opportunity. Now let me show you in the Salesforce. Let's go to the Salesforce. Now switch to Lightning. Now let's say I'm opening up the opportunities. In the opportunity, so you have an option to view. Right now it is displaying in the table format. If you say Kanban view, now here I'm saying the Kanban view. Kanban view. We will talk about that, but I'm just showing right now. Now here different stages are available. Now it is initial discussion. Then in the cycle it is moved to the prospecting. And once it is done, then it is moved to the need analysis. Once the need analysis is done, then it will move to the value proposition. Once it is done, then it will move to the ID decision. Then once it is done, then it will move to the perception. Similarly, in the sprint planning also we'll have the same thing. In the sprint planning also, you have a different stages. So this is Jira software. This is Jira software. And then there is something called Confluence. In the Confluence, what you have to do is you need to document it. You need to document. Now, in order to switch to the Confluence, just click on this 9 button and select here Confluence so that it will be switched to the Confluence. Right. So in this Confluence, now you can select whatever the space you are in. Right. Space is nothing but project. Space is nothing but project. Now you can choose the project and you need to create a story here. You need to create a story. So this is the user creation. This is a user creation, navigation steps, new user. Like this, you need to create. Whatever the documentation is there, you need to do the documentation this way. You need to do the documentation. Like this is in the education, user creation is the one story. And in order to create a user, we have to follow these steps, navigation steps, new steps, search for a user, and we need to create a user, and we need to enter all the mandatory information, and then click on a save button. Click on save button. So this is how we will be creating the documentation in the Confluence page. So this is one of the tool most of the companies uses, Jira and Confluence page. Jira and Confluence. Any questions? So far, whatever we have discussed. Now, for everybody, support admin, dev admin, developer, everybody will be using everyone will be using the Jira. But the only thing is that they will be having a separate project. Developer will have a separate project, support admin will have a separate project, right? Dev admin will be part of the support admin. So support admin, dev admin will have a separate project, development will have a separate project because developer is working on purely on the new project. Support admin and then dev admin is working on the existing projects, but there are issues. This is how the real-time story will be there. Real-time story, this is how, whatever I have mentioned, that's exactly the real time. So for example, this is the Apollo, right? In the Apollo, now whatever this is there, it's exactly same. Now let's click on a create a issue. Now in this create a issue, let's go back to the education. Backlog. Now click on create. I'm going to create a story. So like this, it will be the education story, and initially it will be to do. Now let's say that there is a functionality. The functionality is let's assume that for vehicle, okay, I wanted to do the test drive. So the story will say that implement a form, implement a test drive form, implement a test drive form. Now here in the description, it says that now whenever customer land onto the website and whenever customer click on it button, whenever customer click on test drive button, whenever customer click on it test drive button, it has to open when the new form, it has to open the new form, and new form should contain following fields. First name, last name, and email, right? Mobile number, and then which vehicle they wanted to try for a test drive. Which vehicle and date. So these are the data needs to be displayed. And this is right now, it is not assigned to anybody. Now select the sprint is 2. Now story points, now during the sprint planning, they will give the story point, assume that it is a 3 story points because they will be implementing this form using the lightning flows or a lightning flows. Let's assume lightning flows or lightning aura. And let's click on create. So this is how your story is in the real time. This is exactly your story will be. Now in this story, if you open this story, now once it is assigned to somebody, they will be able to see this description. In case if there is any attachment, they can attach the example, the format of the design of the form, the design of the form they can attach to the story. So this is how it will be in the real time. There is no difference in the real time and this whatever the free version is there, exactly the same. Only additional things what you can see is additional here you can see few fields. That's it. Any other questions? So this is the real time, how it will be there on the issues, epic stories, bug, improvement, new feature, everything will be, we can create everything in the Jira. Now, few companies will use a service now, few companies will use a Visual Studio. So it's up to the company, but mostly MNC companies are using the Jira and Confluence. So issue types in ServiceNow and a TFS. So it is like a before deployment, they will have a epics, features, user stories, tasks. After deployment, they will have a defect, feature, and then change request. If they are using a ServiceNow, if they are using a TFS, then these are the before development, before deployment, and after deployment. These are the one before deployment and after deployment. Clear? Any other questions? Okay, that's all for today. So tomorrow we will start the admin topic.